Over the weekend, Islamic protests against a cartoon of Muhammad spread around the world. In the African nation of Niger, protesters set fire to churches in the capital, and at least 10 people were killed.
Protesters also turned out from Yemen to Pakistan, and Islamic leaders in Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan also denounced the cartoon. Mark Martin has the story.
Protests turned deadly in the Western African country of Niger. The president of Niger says at least 10 people were killed in 2 days of violent protests against Charlie Hebdo's newest cartoon on its latest cover depicting the Prophet Muhammad. The latest issue of the French satirical weekly hit newsstands on Wednesday. It was the first following the January 7th attack on its headquarters that left 12 people dead. Over the weekend, protesters set churches on fire, destroying more than 40 of them in the capital of Niger.
A lot of pastors and their families are homeless. They are right now living, the government have given them a place to stay. Most Christians left their homes to go somewhere else.
CBN News spoke with Yakuba Seydou, who pastors a church in the area. He and other Christian leaders held emergency meetings with the Prime Minister during the crisis.
He was very, very concerned, and he felt very sorry for what happened, and he offered to help, and they did.
The Prime Minister was then able to help Christians find places to stay and provided them with living essentials. In Pakistan, protesters stood on French, U.S., and Israeli flags and held a poster which read, "We condemn the blasphemy of Muhammad and Charlie Hebdo." Mainstream Islamic tradition states any physical depiction of Muhammad, even a respectful one, is considered blasphemous. On Monday in Afghanistan, hundreds of Afghans burned the French flag and chanted "Death to France." The protesters also demanded the French embassy in Kabul be shut down, and they want the French government to apologize to Muslims. Mark Martin, CBN News.
Well, this is the fruit of Islam. When you insult their prophet, then suddenly the entire world goes in flames. And the question I have is, what does a medical clinic in Niger have to do with a magazine in Paris? Why torching that, burning that to the ground? How does that solve your problem? How does torching churches, how does killing people who had nothing to do with it, how does that somehow avenge your prophet? Well, we're supposed to judge trees by their fruit, and this is the fruit of Islam. Well, the Islamic group Boko Haram has launched more deadly attacks in Africa. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Gordon, a suicide bomber killed 4 people in Nigeria and in neighboring Cameroon Sunday. Boko Haram attacked a village in the northern part of that West African nation, killing 3 people and carrying out its largest ever kidnapping. Cameroon's information minister says between 30 and 50 people were abducted and 80 houses destroyed. He also says, "We are dealing with barbaric, lawless people. Nothing can prevent them from assassinating." Boko Haram has been recruiting fighters in Cameroon and other African countries. Pope Francis left the Philippines today after a week-long trip to Asia. Hundreds of thousands of Filipinos poured into Manila to catch a glimpse of the pontiff. An estimated record 6 million people lined city streets and the Philippine capital's largest park Sunday as he called on Filipinos to protect their young from sin and vice. He told the crowd they should see each child as a gift to be welcomed, cherished, and protected. Well, thousands of people have made their way to Selma, Alabama and Atlanta, Georgia this weekend to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In Alabama, Hollywood stars from the movie Selma marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, where the landmark 1965 Civil Rights March turned bloody when it was met by police with clubs and tear gas. And King is being remembered at the church he pastored in Atlanta, Ebenezer Baptist Church. Today marks the 30th Martin Luther King federal holiday. He would have been 86 years old.